What's up, everybody? We're back in the house for another episode of Vetted with Irving Fryar and my man Hollis Thomas. I'm Irving. That's Holiis.
Yes.
Go ahead. Would you read, brother?
Yes, and I'm here to tell you about Philly sports trips. The Bird schedule is out, and I know everybody is clamoring and looking at the schedule to see which game they're going to go to. They're going to travel to. Well, might I suggest that you go to check out phillysportstrips.com and pick out one of the illustrious trips that we have for you. With myself included in pretty much all of these trips, we stay at the best hotels, and we provide some of the most quality entertainment besides the birds. So I advise you to go to phillysportstrips.com and check us out. Tell them the Tank sent you and that you heard it on A2D radio.
Nice, brother. Nice. Can I get the presidential suite on one of those trips? Are you offering the presidential suite?
Well, I just work here. I don't.
Now I see. Yeah, now you
have to ask my man Vince or Bob and see what they could do.
I got no pull because I know you because we do a show together. I get no pull, none, no favor.
You get a king size room, a junior. They'll give you a junior suite.
Junior suite.
It's actually whatever your money will get you.
I hear you.
Money talk, you know what the rest.
Yes, sir. You know what walks.
Yes. And they actually runs the marathon.
Yeah. Keep it real. Listen, what's up with you, man? How was your week? You came back from you didn't know I was going to mention this, but you were just telling me you won the championship today in flag football over at the Eagles complex.
Yes.
You're coaching flag football, man. Go ahead. Tell us about that.
They were doing a charity event. NRG was doing a charity event,
mm-hmm.
and they had 4 different teams. I was a coach of a team, Jason Avant, who's a cheater.
Why is he a cheater, man? Now he's a receiver now. What's up? What's up? Is that because he's a receiver or what?
No. It goes back to last year and my 4th and John brethren. If Primo, if you guys are watching, Primo has a picture. Prime has a picture when I was pissed off because there was 2 different sets of rules going on the fields. And so when I got to the other field, he was holding the rule book in his hand. And I'm like, and he wouldn't let me see it, one. And then he was just blurting out stuff. But then he was also on the field like we were playing a Pop Warner game. I was like, you're not allowed to. And he was like giving them instructions and stuff. I was like, come on, dude.
On the field.
On the field. And I told AJ to watch out for it. And we had Sean Landetta.
Mm-hmm. So could you guys practice before you played the game?
Well, the guys, all you did was pretty much. I have some time leave. I just gave my insight basically.
Okay.
We shut out both teams. We
nice.
won. Not a single point was scored on us.
Defense wins.
Yes, and the goal line stance as well. It's probably the first in flag football history a goal line stance.
You mean Jason Avant's offense did not score?
No, it did not. Not on me. It was like AJ. It was no.
Flag football is easy to score. Flag football. That's great, man.
Yes, it is. But it was a pretty good thing. And they gave away money to the Boys and Girls. My team was the Boys and Girls Club. Yeah. And shout out. And I can't think of Mac. I kept calling him Mac. He works for ABC.
Mm-hmm.
I know him every time I see him. He's one of their anchors, but he won MVP as well. He was killing.
Little athletic ability.
Yes, it was real cool. It was like you had to have 3 girls on each team were on the field at all times, along with 3 guys. So.
Right. Well, that's great. You won the championship, man. I'm proud of you.
I was pissed off last year because when you see it, I'm gonna have Prime send the picture because they always post it when we're doing the 4th and John when I get heated up pissed because it's me yelling at the officials and Prime was running behind me snickering and laughing off the little son of an onion. But it was a great time. So and it was for a great cause. So they gave out $10,000 to the champions.
Wonderful.
I have to show you the size of the trophy too. It was like it wasn't a slouch either.
Really?
It's sat pretty tall.
Well, make sure you take a picture. We'll post it next week.
I have an actual picture because Spuzz was there. Dave Spadaro was the commentator, and he actually recorded them giving me the trophy.
Nice. That's awesome. Well, that's great. You were at an outing and you were coaching. You were in your element, playing flag football. You won. You shut out some former NFL players, especially Jason Avant. Yeah. Jason,
he's a cheater.
Yeah, I don't know about cheating, but guess where I was before
Where were you?
we start, man? I was at the dentist.
Yeah. You know that
Listen,
the
I
dentist
started
is the most feared, feared profession on this earth.
There are a lot of dentists. There are a lot of dentists who commit suicide.
Oh,
because of that. Because people
fear them.
Don't like. Yeah, people fear them. People don't like. They have a negative view of dentists, and obviously, modern medicine has changed things. When I was a kid, dentists were butchers. You know, it was a lot of pain, and my dentist, for the most part, is pain free. But man, because of the experience I had when I was kids, every time I go to the dentist or get ready to go to the dentist, I start having anxiety attacks. I'm nervous, man. I had to have a little drink before I went this time, so I could calm down. I really started, and I was just getting my teeth clean. And I was really thinking about canceling because I couldn't wrap my brain around going to the dentist. I just couldn't get myself ready. But I knew if I did cancel it, I was going to have to reschedule it for another time. So I just went ahead. And it's not painful. It's not. She does a good job, the lady that cleans my teeth. But man, I can't. I don't like the dentist.
You know what? It doesn't even bother me anymore.
It bothers me.
It's like I was cracking up because it was like when they go to numb you, it's like, oh wow, you just take the needle. I was like, yeah, I played football for 14 or 15 years, and getting the needle to numb, it's kind of funny because I used to cringe and grab the seat. Right. When I first started going, but then it was like, oh, okay, well they numb me for a reason, so let's just let it happen.
Well, numbing is not the problem for me because my doctor has a way of. I don't know what he puts, a swab or something in there to numb the area he's giving a stick.
Yeah, but you still
and
feel
a little prick. Yeah. But no, it's numbing is not the part for me. It's that, that drilling, the sound of the drill, the for me, it's the because okay, let me give you an example. And we're going to move on to what we're talking about today.
Sorry about that.
But this is who we are. So come on in the room. Join us, and I'm sure those of you who are listening, most of you don't like the dentist either. That's what happens with an elephant. Right. When a baby elephant, when it's born in the circus, they put this big old chain around its leg, right?
Okay.
And the elephant can't go anywhere. So when it's grown, they can tie a little rope around its leg. Now, he can snap the rope, but he doesn't. Why? Because he remembers when he was a kid, he couldn't move based on that noose that was around his foot. Oh. So it's the same thing with me. All I remember is when I was a kid and how I got kicked out of the dentist's office because I bit him. He was so painful. I bit him and they kicked me out. So I'm just sitting there anticipating pain the whole time, waiting for them to hit a nerve so I can go. I'm just the whole time I go to the dentist, I'm just sitting there. It's stressful, man. It's too stressful.
So what the hell did you bite the dentist for?
Because he stuck me with that needle. I went home and got my mother whooped my behind too, man. She took me home and beat the snot out of me.
So you lost twice.
Yeah, I lost twice. And then 3 times because I had to go back to the dentist again. Because he didn't finish his work. I had to go back. Oh. So he was applying extra pressure because I bit him. So he was less careful the next time I went.
So did you give out the agree to disagree question for today?
No, I didn't give out the agree to disagree question yet, or statement. It's a statement. It's a statement. Yeah. The statement is this: the agree to disagree today. Do you agree or do you disagree that the Eagles will lead the NFL in sacks again in 2023? Do you agree or do you disagree? Come on, write it in the comments. I don't see many folk in the comments. Where are y'all at?
There's a bunch of them on there. They just haven't said anything.
They haven't said anything.
But we're going to finish. We're going to get to the defensive line, which is why this is an important question.
Question. That's why we put it up today.
Yeah, because we get into the defensive line and we can go from left to right if you want to. We can start out with pretty much the captain of the defensive line is Brandon Graham.
Yeah, I'm gonna let you handle this because this is your area of expertise. When we get into the receivers, then I'll have a whole lot to say.
Well, we went this way because everybody else is already talking about the receiver. Like, where's Andre Hopkins going to go? He's currently visiting the New England Patriots. It's not the same lure as it used to be with Tom Brady. So
he's not going to the New England Patriots. He's going to go where he feels he has the best chance of winning a championship, going to the NFL Super Bowl and winning now. Not 2 years from now, not 3 years from now.
Looking to build something. So.
He wants to win this year. So there's 2 choices, or maybe 3 choices. and that's the Eagles, number one. Mm-hmm. Well, I put my middle finger up. I'm sorry. The Eagles, number one, not my middle finger. Let's do this finger. The Eagles, number one. The Chiefs, number two. And I would say the Bills, number three. And the 49ers, number four. One of those four teams all have the highest possibility of going to and winning the Super Bowl in 2024, which is the 2023 season.
Right.
He's going, I guarantee you, if I were him, and I'm that kind of player, I can ball, but I'm not in the latter years of my career, but I'm in the, I'm at the top of the mountain, getting ready to head down the other side. And I can come in and contribute with my skill set and what I've done in the past in the league. I'm confirmed. I've proven. I can choose who I want to, because any one of the teams, they can work it out financially, and they will at this point, because the longer it takes for him to sign with someone, the less money he's going to get.
All right. So he needs to go ahead and make a choice now.
Yeah.
And also to get into the playbook too as well. But we going to start off with BG with Brandon Graham. He brings experience. And first year of double-digit sacks last
11 year. 11 sacks, yeah.
11 sacks last year. So it's like I think him with this group, I think for him it was a no-brainer. I think he wanted to come back and win one with the kid,
right?
Because if you look at a lot of the guys who are a little long in the tooth and had opportunity to go somewhere else for a little bit more money, between him, Kelsey, and Fletcher Cox, who also came back, but he plays right defensive tackle. I'm not going to skip over the left defensive tackle, because that's the guy that we need to be talking about, because we want to know if he has it. Jordan Davis.
Well, let's finish with Brandon Graham first.
Let's finish with Brandon Graham. Brandon Graham he's one of the few defensive ends, left defensive ends that can pass rush and stop the run, and he's just an all around playmaker. Plus, he's a leader on and off the field. He's what you ask for as a guy who's in actually what's this, 12th, 13th year?
It'll be his 15th year. He got 14 in the league. It'll be his 15th year this year.
He's still playing at a
high level. Yes, because last year or this past year, he set a record for his personal sacks, personal record for sacks, and that was after. And again, he should have been, in my opinion, I believe this is your opinion.
Yeah, I said it first.
He should have been the comeback player of the year.
Not no daggone Geno Smith.
Not even close. Not even close.
Geno Smith did come off an injury.
To be able to come back from an Achilles injury, which is as a big dog, rushing off the edge and pushing like that and putting pressure. It's just phenomenal what he's been able to do, and then come back and have his best year ever in his 14th year in sacks. That's phenomenal. Yeah. I don't even know why there was any question about him being the comeback player of the year. Whoever chooses who is,
they don't like Philly.
It's stupid. Whoever it is, they're stupid.
Now, see,
they're stupid.
This goes to when some fans say that the masses don't like us. That proves it right there, because up until this past season, no other player that hasn't been injured has won the comeback player of the year award.
And then, like I said, it doesn't make sense where he came from and what he accomplished in his year that he came back, why he would not be the comeback player of the year. Whoever makes that decision, you're stupid.
Drop the ball big time.
No, they're stupid. They didn't drop the ball. They're stupid. They did, and I'm calling you stupid because you did it on purpose.
Yes.
Because you don't like the Eagles.
Yeah.
But that's all right. What comes around
goes around.
Mm-hmm, that's right. They call it karma, but you reap what you sow. That's biblical right there. But yeah, he's let me look at his stats from the season.
Okay.
17 plays, 17 games.
17 games. All 17 games.
At 34 years old. He's 35. He's 35.
He just turned 35, right?
Yep. 17 regular season games. He had 35 tackles, 19 were solo, 16 were assisted. Then in the playoffs, he played 3 games and only had 3 tackles. So again, my issue, not in the playoffs, but particularly focused in on the Super Bowl, was that the big dogs who ate during the regular season did not eat during that game
in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl,
I don't think he put them in optimal position to win, and that was one of the things that anytime I've been around a defensive coordinator, he's always said you can't hesitate when they put you in a position to make the play. You need to make that play,
right?
And they're going to put you in position to make a play. A lot of you just never know where your number is going to be called. So that's why when you see somebody get pulled because they misstep, because that one half a second is the difference between a sack and a quarterback hit. Yeah, a quarterback hit at overall touchdown. Yeah. So that was one of the big things. Now, speaking of big things.
Well, can I say this about what you said? You said put them in position to win. Right. Now, what happened, I believe, because of certain things that happened offensively for the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, was that Jonathan Gannon was predictable.
He's been predictable.
He's been predictable, yes.
The entire time.
But you can't. But against the coach.
But see, this is the funny part.
Like Andy Reid, you can't be predictable.
Yeah, this is the funniest thing is everybody was on myself as Self Jordan, because we was all over Jonathan Gannon the entire time, and everybody kept telling, "Well, we don't need to blitz." No, you don't have to blitz, but you're not supposed to be predictable.
Right,
you're not supposed to be able to know what coverage you're in. You can switch the coverage up or something.
Well, it's almost like they knew what coverage they were going to be in, and what they were going to do when they ran those two plays at the goal line.
Exactly.
So you're talking about being predictable.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the funniest thing was and I don't know if anybody has went to the previous season when I didn't want them here after that season when we were in the playoffs, the one playoff game we played in Jalen first year fully starting, and the offense, and people have heard me mention this on several different occasions when Byron Leftwich and Tom Brady were on the sidelines. Like I told you, they're gonna be right where we think they are. They don't change anything. Right. They don't change anything up. Right. It's just like last time.
I don't think that Sirianni and Gannon had the confidence in Jalen Hurts that first season that he was starting, that they just kind of, kept it, particularly when situations got tight. They kept it as vanilla as they could to make it as easy as possible for him to succeed and not make a mistake. Because you can see from that year to last year, some of the intricacies that they placed in the offense,
right? Some
of the little wrinkles that they placed in the offense, particularly in some of the pass patterns, formations out in the field.
You got a number one, or another number one,
real
number one receiver,
right?
So you could do that. You wasn't dealing with
but
Quez, you wasn't dealing with Quez again.
But he wasn't. There was still the whole. Even going into last year, there was the big question about Jalen being able to pass from the pocket, being able to throw the ball downfield. So it wasn't just a question in the minds or in the eyes of the fans, but going into last season, yes, he had made some improvements, and they saw that during the preseason, but you really didn't know what was going to happen because he didn't play much in the preseason. You didn't know what was going to happen until they got into the real games. And I think the coaches were the same. It's easy. There's a lot. You've heard about practice players. You've seen practice players. They're superstars. They're all stars. They're all world. They're Pro Bowlers in practice. Then you get them in a game, and they're not worth a nickel.
I know. We used to call them All Pro Thursday.
There you go.
Thursday was the hardest practice, and it was like we went through and then you have those particular guys who in practice they were all world in practice. You put them in the game, they not gonna bust a beach ball with an iron board.
There you go. And that was, I believe, something still in the minds of the coaches. And as Jalen continued to evolve into who he is today over the course of last season, because that happened last season. It didn't happen the season before. He struggled a bunch the season before, but man, he made that big leap last year. And as he continued to improve, the offense continued to evolve. They continued to put in more and more wrinkles and deception and things.
But it's like because we got Ted. Ted he's talking about the defense. They didn't take any blame. Like Ted, I think actually Darius Slace took some blame. Recently said we scored 35 points as a defense. We should be ashamed of ourselves for giving up 38.
So he happened. Did Slay take that? Did Slay say that recently?
Yeah, he recently said that.
Okay, so he should have said that back during the Super Bowl.
Yeah, it's like
it's too late. Oh, I guess he had time to think about it.
And Ted is in the comment section. He said they passed the buck to the defense coordinator. The only reason he passed it to the defense coordinator because the one thing they look like Keystone Cops. That means when I see something like that, Ted, that means that they did not go over it in practice, and it has never been coached, and he hasn't went through any checks to that point. And that's the if you look at it, go look at that film, and then go look at the Jacksonville film. It's the exact same thing, and he never corrected it. And so it's a tragic flaw in his scheme. It's like you have to. I'm telling you, I'm fortunate enough to have the guys who actually figured out how to break down the West Coast offense with those zone traps.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, so you had Jim Johnson was one of the guys. You remember Emmett Thomas? He was one of the guys when they were in Tampa Bay. They started running the zone traps and stuff, and they designed. It was like different coverages that you could do to trick the quarterback.
I don't want
to throw in it. Go ahead.
I want to stop you. We got to go to a commercial.
Okay.
We'll come back to that. We'll come back to that because I got a thought on that too.
Okay.
Ralph.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
Hey, Ted. Yes, we're back. Just to stay in that line of thought and in that conversation. And again, this is just what we do. Ted, you said pass the buck to the coordinator, defensive coordinator. Where I was very disappointed in that game, the Super Bowl that the Eagles lost against the Chiefs this past February. Was it February 12th?
Yeah, somewhere around
February 12th.
Yeah.
I was very disappointed. And yeah, this is where you can pass the buck or put the blame on the defensive coordinator, Jonathan Gannon. Is where, the Chiefs scored on that first touchdown, or that one touchdown where the outside receiver came in motion on the right and he went inside the inside receiver and then ran back out, and we got mixed up and Slade went inside, and so did the guy who was covering the inside receiver on our side went inside and left him wide open running into the end zone. So they blew that coverage. All right. They blew that coverage. What should have happened, because it was blown so blatantly, they should have gathered on the sidelines with the defense. This happens all the time where there's a play that gets away from one of the defenses. Somebody comes wide open and somebody breaks a run. That next time they're on the sidelines, when they get off the field, the defense gets together with the defensive coordinator and they talk about what happened and why it happened and how to prevent it from happening again. Yeah. That obviously did not take place because here we go. They get a punt. The Eagles get the ball back. They have to punt. Long punt return. The very next play, they run the same play on the other side of the field, and the same thing happens. The wide receiver comes wide open. Nobody covers him. They get confused. So, yes, that is the defensive coordinator's problem, and it's his fault, and he's to blame because that correction should have been made on the field, and that touchdown that way should have never taken place. Yeah. So, in that sense, in that lane, yes, some of that game is Jonathan Gannon. I forgot his name. I got excited. It's Jonathan Gannon's fault. Yeah. And there's where I say that he was distracted because of his contact with the Cardinals.
Exactly.
That's my argument. That is that he missed that and didn't fully commit to the Eagles and wasn't fully committed to the Eagles and what they were doing in that moment because he was distracted by what had taken place in those conversations. He's thinking about being a head coach. Yeah.
And it wasn't.
How do you not go and cover that? How do you not go and correct that mistake?
And the funny thing is, they don't have the grease boards on the sideline anymore. They do it with those micro.
They got computers.
Computers and stuff.
It's better.
I didn't see any of that go on. I was like, when we have something that blew us away like that, everybody, Jim Johnson. That's why Jim loved to be on the sideline, because if something went down like that, he got all the secondary together, and then he would come to Tommy Brazier and and tell him what he wanted him to run up front so that the linebackers could get to that coverage better. Is that like we would cut up the run so in that situation to get more hands out there because it was kind of a mismatch out there. You want to get more hands in the secondary. If you're trying to do that and cut up the run. But you have our defensive line just running straight into their offensive line every play after play. That was nothing creative about that. Ted, you could have called that game because all they were running was man.
We might have done better with Ted.
I think it's one of those things where I was ticked off just at the way because I was there at the game and I'm like, man, they are running man under every play. And it was like the epitome of that was I was watching NFL replay the other day of way back when the Jacksonville Jaguars beat the Denver Broncos.
Way back.
Yeah, it was like when they John Elway. But in that game, they had the Denver Broncos second and 20. Because the Denver Broncos had a holding call. They ran man under that next play. The middle opened up like a sea. And guess what John Elway did? Pulled it down and hit his head on the goalpost. Damn near hit his head on the goalpost. He got the 20 yards and got him out of that situation. Man under is cool. If you're gonna cut things up, they ran straight pass rush and it opened up like the Red Sea. And him being a veteran, a good quarterback is going to see that man.
That's
under,
right.
And they're going to pull it because
they pull it down and run.
Pull it down. And the reason they pull it down and run, any quarterback that sees man under will pull it down and run because there's nowhere to throw the damn ball because they're covering people. They cover people man underneath and they have over the top help.
Right.
So
also, I mean that's one of the things that is has become great about Jalen. And a problem for defensive coordinators and defensive teams is because when you play man like that and man under, those who are the defensive backs or linebackers who are playing under, they have their back to the quarterback.
Oh, so I forgot that caveat.
Yeah, so when the quarterback sees that, he takes off running. He's going to get 15, 20 yards and slide easy first down. So you can't play a lot of man, particularly man, with Jalen Hurts in our offense because when Jalen sees that, and he recognizes that now, he's gotten to the point where he can see that, he's going to wait, and if nothing is open, he's going to pull it down and run to that void and not even get touched for 15, 20 yards.
The funny part about that is if you don't cut up the run, and when I say cut up the run, you have to. When you run man under, you need to run stunts up front, just because of that reason. Because the that puts bodies around the quarterback, and he's not able to see what we're talking about, the coverage. And by the time he sees it, it's kind of too late, and we're on him. But if you don't cut up the run, he can just see that naturally,
right?
Because the one thing that most defensive tackles won't do is go in there and honor the double team. They will, especially on pass rush. Nobody wants to. I'm the only one that enjoys the headbang.
You're the only one that
will do it.
You're the only one that would do it.
Yeah, that will. I would go in there and destroy the center and take the guard with me because what you can't do, and now you have to push the pocket. In those situations when they don't give you stunts, you have to push the pockets. But sometimes you have those guys that don't want any of that funk in there, and they go rush like this, and it's going to open up like the Red Sea.
We're going to get off of this subject, but have you ever seen those people post videos where something happened in a game? I saw it a couple of times, and they smash their TV or they throw something at the TV and knock the TV off the wall.
Oh yeah, I see that a bunch of times.
Man, that's what I wanted to do when they scored that second touchdown the same way they scored the first one. I'm like, how? I played 17 years in the NFL. I've never, ever, ever on film watching other teams, I've never, ever seen anything like that happen ever.
2 times in a row.
Where it happened 2 times in a row. You see it happen all the time where it happens once, but for it to happen twice, just a few plays later, I've never, ever seen anything like, and that was just simply embarrassing. I was surprised that Jonathan Gannon still got called into the Cardinals to be the head coach. But that also it proves my theory that he was already in the mix. He was already there before the game ever started. He was already there. That's crazy. Yeah, anyway, so what's Brandon going to do this year? Brandon Graham. What is he going to do? We just got one guy done.
I know we got one guy.
What's he going to do this year? You think he's going to have the year that he had last year?
Well,
do we have enough dogs in the house? I
think the one thing that we have on the defensive line is that, as you'll see, we have depth and we have quality depth.
Right.
It's like not the depth that Marv Albert said. Depth is great until you have to use it. We have a rotation of guys, especially in the defensive end position, of guys that could come in and spell each other. And as long as we keep the guys fresh, that's why at the end of the games we could close games out, or if we need the ball back, we can get the ball back.
Right.
So I think he's going to. Hopefully he mimics or best his year from last year, and so he could really go out on top.
So for us, the Eagles, depth. We have depth. And like you said, depth is good until you have to use it. But I think the Eagles want to use their depth.
On defensive line, yes.
Yeah, they want to use their
depth. The big dogs up front, we have to chase and if you're going to promote chasing the ball, and the one thing that Jim always said was chase the ball, give it all you got every play. We have somebody over here to spell you when you need to. Because if you have guys hedging for the next play, that's how you get your ass kicked. Right.
And as long as you have guys playing fresh and going 100%, then you can stop offenses. Yeah. You can stop all. Listen, big dog, you got another read.
I got another read too?
Yeah, it just came up.
It just came
Ralph
up.
said, Hollis paper read coming up.
Okay.
Go ahead.
Yeah, this is Hollis Thomas coming to you to talk to you about Philly sports trips. The Eagles schedule's out, so I know that everybody's going down the list and they're checking it twice to see which away games that they would like to go to. Well, I will be at each and every away game, but the only way that you get to hang with me is to go to phillysportstrips.com and pick one of our illustrious trips. We stay in the most ballerific hotels known to man.
Ballerific.
Yes, so we have quality food and we have some legends that'll be there sometime for the sheer entertainment of the fans. So if you want to travel, pick the best, phillysportstrips.com. Tell them you heard it from the tank and that you heard it on A2D radio.
That's all right, man. and you can get a presidential suite now.
You get a junior suite.
A junior presidential suite. So who do you want to talk about next?
The next one is I think a lot of people in the conversation want to talk about Jordan Davis. Jordan Davis. He's currently penciled in as the starter at left defensive tackle. I've seen him. He's still in shape. He's still in really good shape.
Good.
I think he had a high ankle sprain last year.
Right. Yeah.
And always ails and I'm gonna tell everybody why it ails the big dogs, because you always worry once you get the high ankle sprain and it's not fully healed. You always worry about the offensive lineman cut blocking you.
Plus he's got to worry about how much he weighs and how much weight he's putting on that ankle when he's just walking. He's 336 pounds.
Yeah, but he's like 6'6".
Yeah, he's 6'6".
Yeah. He's a man amongst boys.
Oh, he's a beast.
He ran fast too. I was like, good God.
He run the fastest 40. I think he says one of the fastest 40 times ever for someone his size.
Yes,
4.78.
Yep. He was rolling.
That's dangerous. Something that's like a car moving down the road.
Yes.
Something that big moving at that speed.
A small Volkswagen.
That's ridiculous.
He's bigger than your most Fiats.
Yeah. So he did play 269 snaps last year, 71.8 run defense grade.
Right.
And
you could tell when he was in there versus when the other guys were in there, because he was shutting things down. And I think that I don't know how he got Linval Joseph and Ndamukong Suh in there, because once he needed some help, and I think those two guys coming in, I think they're veteran, the way they did things and the way they taught him how to be a pro. And I'm interested to see it. And I know if anybody has any questions, I'm interested to see how he's going to handle you, because normally year two you get the biggest jump. And I don't know about you, but that's the biggest jump
for everybody. In most cases, for everybody, not in most cases for everybody, but most cases. And when I say most cases, 90%, 85, 90% of those rookies going from the rookie year to the second year in the NFL, they make the biggest jump.
And do you think it's because you got the game down, you know that you play, but then you're in the same system for the second year?
If you're still in the same team, yes, right. I think that has a lot to do with it. It's the same system, and you don't have to think about it anymore. You can just go ahead and allow your athletic ability to take over, which is what happened. We talked about Jalen. That's what happened with him this past year. Yeah. It was his first time ever being in the same system.
With the same offensive coordinator 2 years in a row.
2 years in a row. Now, watch this now.
I never knew that.
Now it's 3 years in a row.
Yes.
And now this will be 2 years with the same set of receivers.
Nice. That's going to be interesting.
In terms of Goddard and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So now they have 2 years together under their belt. So now there's going to be I think there's going to be some little wiggles and things like that we didn't see this past year that just kind of developed because of time and experience with one another.
Well, not only that, I think he'll be better versed at picking plays, and it's like I think and I don't know. Tell me, this is a question I have for everybody. What was your favorite Jalen Hurts moment of this past season? I'm going to tell you mine was at the game against Indianapolis when we had lost the game and we were not doing too good in that game, and he just put the team on his back, and we came back and we won that game by the skin of our teeth, but we won the game. And it's like, I don't know if you've been, when you've been on a good team and you go come in there and play that team that don't. Well, you was with me when we played against you remember when we played against the Jets, and Ty Detmer went on TV and said, well, hell, if we can't beat the Jets, we need to be at home.
Right.
Man, Hugh Douglas was on that team. That was the first game they're gonna try to start Jermaine Mayberry of the season. Man, Hugh had 3.5 sacks, and it took a pick six.
Pissed them off.
Yeah, dude, and they was 1-14 at the time.
Right.
And it was like common sense says we should go in there and kick their ass. Man, they gave us all that we wanted for all 4 quarters. They were not trying to relinquish.
Chicken Man messed us up, man. I called him Chicken Man because they had chicken legs. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what he is. Like we wanted to see that. We want to see that from Jalen Hurts. See him put the whooping stick out.
Well, I don't see Jalen having any problems this year. I really don't, other than, making sure he does what he needs to do to stay healthy. I think he has the ability to play at a high level if he is dinged up. He showed us that last year when he got hurt, his ribs, and he continued to play in that Bears game and managed to win that game. So, obviously they kept him out after that, but he still played hurt. And I think, when you look at quarterbacks like him, that's the thing, the Randall Cunninghams, let's look at the Eagles quarterbacks that were kind of similar to Jalen. You talk about Randall Cunningham, running quarterback. You talk about number 5, who could run the ball also.
5 will always love you.
Right. And what hindered them, what kept them from being or finishing out strong was injuries.
Yeah.
So Jalen hasn't had to face that yet. Just a little bit, but hopefully he can become a little bit more of a pocket quarterback. We don't want to take away the element or the fact that he can run the ball. We want defenses to know that he still has the ability to run the ball, and they have to be aware of that. So every now and then he runs the ball and he hurts the defense, puts a dagger in the defense. We want that. But we don't want him to be such a, as much as he ran the ball last year, we don't want that. When he had 800 some yards last year, but we don't want that.
But sometimes the game, I like the way he plays mainly because he plays to win. And he does what it takes.
Right, he does what it takes to win.
It's like sometimes teams are not going to give you the opportunity to throw the ball because they're going to send more at you than you could actually block.
Mm-hmm.
So it was like I love what he did in the Detroit game. That's my boy Aaron Glenn was sitting in the house every time. If you watch that game, he was sitting in the house every time, and I'm like, oh God.
Well, that's why you need to make sure you're clear on your check downs. Make sure you're clear on getting the ball to the back. That's why we need DeAndre Hopkins, a third receiver who is formidable, who is proven, who is a threat, who makes a difference that the defense has to actually game plan for, not just the first 2 that we have, but they got to account for the third one, and then add Goddard on top of that. Listen, that should take away the necessity for Jalen to have to run the ball at any point because of a blitz.
And Swift.
See,
now we're getting off subject here. We're supposed to go to the right defensive tackle, who's Fletcher Cox.
So wait a minute, we didn't finish. We'll go to Fletcher Cox, but let's finish about Jordan Davis.
Okay.
What do you expect from Jordan Davis this year?
I'm expecting him to make leaps and bounds. I'm expecting him to be a feared individual.
Mm-hmm.
He's right now is like he did okay. We got a question.
Mm-hmm.
He did okay this past season.
Right.
But I want him to be able to strike fear in the opposing offensive line's heart. It's like it's like so when he comes out, somebody I think it was Joseph said, we hope he brings the big nasty. That means he's not taking crap from anybody. It means he's not taking the extra pushes. I mean, he's doing that because sometimes when the offensive line, they can push you around a little bit, and you have to be the nasty.
Is he that kind of guy though? Does he have that in him? Do you see that kind of countenance?
Yes. I see that switch coming on when he's on the field
because he's big enough.
Yeah,
he can go in there, but he's a run stopper. He's not a pass rusher.
No, he's a pocket crusher.
Yeah. Okay. You want to call it a pocket crusher?
Yes, you destroy it. It's like when you have to put you. It will be illegal for you to block him with one person. So he destroys the pocket.
And that's great.
And that's great for our defensive ends.
Yeah.
And the other defensive tackle.
And Jalen Carter. Joe Frazier. Ralph, put up Joe Frazier if you can. Who do y'all think will be the running back, the first running back on the depth chart? Number one.
The dude we traded for, Swift.
Yeah. Thanks, Joe.
I think quality question, but go ahead.
I think just off the top of my head, I mean, I know Rashad Penny is there, and we have Gainwell, and we have Boston Scott. We got a truckload of running backs.
Yeah, talent too.
Yeah, and it's talent.
I was going to say Swift, but I think
no.
Go ahead.
I think first of all, we gotten better from what we had last year. All right. Swift with the combination of Penny together. I know they both had some injuries, but I think Miles Sanders with the combination of Swift and Penny, they're better than Miles Sanders. Yeah. Okay.
And
Rashad, when you look at him, man, that cat was a beast. I would even dare to say that he's a better running back, a more effective running back than Swift. I mean, he doesn't catch the ball like Swift does, but that cat can run the ball.
He does run the ball, but the thing is, like, we have to put the 1-2 punch so he doesn't get hurt.
Exactly, and that's what I was going to say. The two of them together will kind of offset one another, and they can spell one another, and therefore limit prayerfully, hopefully, any injuries that they might have. But the two of them together, man, it's going to be crazy this year. It's going to be crazy. But I would see, I mean, if you want to talk about day one, game one, play one, Gainwell. Offense, Gainwell, you think it's going to be Gainwell?
Who you think? Okay, this is
going to be Swift.
No, I think it's going to be Gainwell.
You think it's going to be? I actually,
this is why. You saw who they went to in the Super Bowl, right? And so I bring that up because Jackass went down to Carolina and got in front of the camera and talking about he didn't feel like they used him well. When they had your goofy ass the ball, you were running sideways.
He lost the ball.
Yeah, you ran sideways. The stage was too big for you apparently. And then when they turned around and handed it to the kid, he was getting up inside and he was getting up the field and doing what it takes to win the game. Don't be all butthurt and stuff because we didn't sign you to the big money that you. It's like and I felt like he made some strides. But was it because it was money on the line, or was it the true him? Because he's often hurt and he can't go.
No, he was trying to get that money. We know he's trying to get that bag. He's chasing that bag. My opinion, and I believe I said this earlier before they brought Swift in.
Right.
I was, back before they brought Swift, everybody was saying, a lot of people were saying that we need to get another running back. We just need a
bruiser, though.
I was saying to myself, Gainwell could be the starter. What's wrong with Gainwell? Why can't he start? He's proven he's done a good job.
But this is what the fans want. We want that bruiser.
Swift's not a bruiser.
But Rashard Penny is.
Yeah, but Swift's not a bruiser.
Yeah,
where's bruising people gotten Penny? Hurt.
Yeah, but we need him to bruise just one season for us.
Well, yeah, we need him to bruise, but he needs to be an elusive bruiser. He needs to just bruise when necessary. If someone's in his way, then lower the boom, but make sure you stay on the field. That's all.
Hold on, Nate wants to know if don't all players chase that big contract? Yes, we do. But if the year of your contract you do exponentially well, what the hell was that the first few years before you got to the contract year? Right.
And then you also have some big name players or some players who will like Tom Brady.
Right.
He's several times he's taking less money so he doesn't hurt the team so they can get more players. Or better quality players. So there are some, yes, who chase the bag, who haven't ever gotten the bag.
I mentioned that specifically because when people chase the bag, people could, the powers that be can see that. Because they think it's, so they're not going to give you a boatload of money, and because you have one great year, you're supposed to put your resume together,
right?
So you can see they're not going to look at just 1 year when you come out and explode on the scene all of a sudden because it's nut cutting time and you want another contract. It's like you need to be. They need to be talking to you before your contract is up.
Right.
That's what if you talk about chasing the bag, you're supposed to be chasing it your entire contract.
Right.
It's like no, but no, because everybody thinks it's like, oh, aren't you all? Yes, we are all chasing the next big contract.
Well,
but you chase it during the contract you're in. The whole time you make them want to tear it up 2 years later or 3 years later. You make them want to tear it up, or in the last year they don't want you to hit the market because you're so good.
Right. And I think the amount of money that's being dispersed in the NFL that these players are making, when you talk about the average, a guy that's on the bench who's not really contributing that much, may just be on special teams the whole year. Those guys are making $1 million a year. So the money has really changed the way players approach the game.
Right.
They want that big payday. And particularly when they see someone else that they know or in their position get the big contract, because it's so big and there's so much money, it changes the way guys approach the game. It changes how they see the game, their mentality towards the game. And it's not so much the motivation in terms of their love of the game, but it's that bag. It's that money. It's money. I'm not downing them. Trust me, I'm not speaking negatively about them. I'm not accusing them. I'm not condemning them or anything, because it's a lot of money. Yeah. But it's a lot of money.
But I don't know if anybody's going to realize the way to the money is to have continued success on the field. And that it's like, you don't just turn it on when you think you want to play.
Well, right.
One of the I talked to Joe Douglas. You talk to Joe Douglas all the time. He said when he was looking for, because I asked him one time, what do you look for when you look at a player? You look for somebody who loves football. You look for somebody who truly is like, it's like when you get those type of players, like the guys, I feel like the guys that we drafted, like when I went over to that alumni barbecue, those guys, they were still talking about the new playbook and learning and learning from guys. The kid Smith, I can't think of his first name. Nolan Smith. Right. He was talking to Trey about learning pass rush, break pass rush moves, and not only that, but breaking down each offensive tackle and stuff. And it's like that's what you look for when you look for a player, not somebody who's just worried about the next bag of money. Right. It's like, because you want to win, but you want to get paid, but you want to win.
But I think it's 50-50 now. Yeah. You don't have I think it's about half of the players in the NFL who really play because they love the game, and the other half really are playing because they're chasing that bag, and once they get it, they believe they've arrived, and because it changes their lives. It changes not just their lives, but it changes generations coming behind them. It changes their lives. We got a video coming up. Go ahead, Ralph.
Hey, Birds fans, the NFL schedule has arrived and Philly Sports Trips has all the details now. Visit the site phillysportstrips.com. This is sure to be an epic season. Be sure to go there now to make sure that you don't get shut out. Join us in Tampa, LA, Seattle, or when we get revenge in Kansas City. Don't want to fly? No problem. Gather up your crew and hop aboard one of our signature boisterous bus trips to DC or New York. Sign up now and make sure to mention A2D. Don't miss out on the best Philly fan experience anywhere. Philly Sports Trip customers always stay at the best hotels and meet NFL legends. Book today.
A2D Radio. Yes. We don't ever get through all of the content that we prepare a show for. I think it's because we're too familiar with each other, man.
Yeah, but look at it like this: the last person on the starting defensive line is Josh Sweat. What more can you say about Josh Sweat?
Josh, since 2019, 2019, right. He leads the Eagles in sacks with 28.2, I think it is. Yes, 28.5.
He's a man amongst boys. I love the kid. He worked,
and he's still young. He's like 24 years old.
Yeah, it was a weird thing. It was like apparently he was a bit of a freak of nature, and as far as like physically. I know he had a couple of bad knee injuries like back in the day.
And he kind of runs like, you know, kind of awkward. It was great when he intercepted that ball and ran for a pick six right by Dak Prescott, man. That was it was a 40 yards. That was awesome, man. That was awesome.
Yeah, I would have killed over.
But he looked like he was laboring, I guess, a little bit while he was running then. Is that because of his knee injuries?
No, it's probably because they had driven down the field so far.
Oh, okay.
It's like
but there's like a hitch in his giddy up a little bit.
Yeah, there's a hitch in his giddy up. But the one thing that I'm hoping for this next defensive coordinator that's upon us is that our guys up front, we don't. It's like, because I know Fletch was the main one. The last few years, the last couple of defense coordinators, there's been situations with that bend but don't break crap.
Right.
I'm looking to get I'm looking to get the offense off the damn field.
Turn the dogs loose.
Yes.
Let them hunt.
Yes. And it's like I was laughing because sometimes Fletcher Cox doesn't get the credit he deserved, but sometimes he does. He is to me, it doesn't seem like he's doing much at times. Well, but I'm looking for him this year to come between him and I'm looking for him to teach Jordan Davis a little bit, but I'm looking for him to break scot-free and have a little bit of a year where we don't have to talk about him being lazy or should we be paying him that much.
I don't think he was being lazy. I mean, the most sacks that Fletcher Cox has had in a year is 10.
Right.
He had 8 last year.
Mm-hmm.
He had 8 last year. He's 34 years old? 32 years old. I'm sorry. 32 years old. Right. He had 8 sacks last year. That's good. Yeah. That's a good season.
That's a good season.
He's a 6-time All-Pro because, again, when he makes All-Pro, he had 10 sacks. That's only 2 less than what he made last year. I think people don't see him flashing all over the place because he's doing his job on the line.
Right.
Oftentimes I saw, and tell me if I'm wrong, Hollis, that he was occupying 2 guys.
Yeah, and
they were double teaming him.
And that's what I often say. But then it's every once in a while you catch him thinking that he's going to be double teamed, and that's the one thing that I often tell him whenever because he's like, I know you watching Big Dog. What you see? I was like, well, I had to tell Coach Rocker from last season, get y'all damn pads down.
Okay.
Pad level, defensive line, pad level.
Well, Fletcher's supposed to know better than that.
Yes, but it's like, but you still have to reiterate it.
Right.
And he's like, I be telling them, I was like, you have to get the low man wins every time.
Right.
If your pads are high, they're going to make sport of you. The offensive line will make sport of you and laugh at you. I watched Trey T laugh at a bunch of people.
So what happens to a guy like Fletcher Cox, who's 32 years old, 12 years in the league? What happens to him? Because his pad level comes up. What is happening to him that's causing that?
He's tired.
Is it okay? He's tired.
And it's like I think with the new way that I think that they're going to rotate. It'll. If you notice, he did a lot better this year than he had in a little bit.
Right. Yeah.
It was because of the rotation.
Right. The year before last, he was
sticking up
dormant. He was stale.
But he was playing like damn near all the
time. Right.
And it's like you can't ask the defensive tackle to do that.
So what is Jalen Carter going to add to this defensive line? We'll go out with Jalen Carter, and I'm excited. I'm really excited about him because again, there's far and few in between, and you can correct me if I'm wrong. When you talk about defensive linemen, defensive tackles that can pass, rush, and stop the run. And Carter can do both. And he's huge. I use 6'3", 313, 314.
Yes. The funny thing about him is he reminds me of what Emmett Thomas and remember Mike Turkovic?
Yes, Turk.
Yeah, Turk. They said that I didn't know any better. And I love that.
So Jalen doesn't know any better.
Yeah, he doesn't. Well, see,
and that's good.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It's like,
that's good in football.
I don't give a damn who I line up in front of. I'm trying to kick your ass.
Right.
And that's when I heard that, because it was some of his teammates talking about like when they were playing against different teams in college and how he was dominating versus a double team and just pushing guys back and stuff. And then it was just like, and then I was like, oh, so he's one of those don't know any better guys. It's like, because you don't know you're not supposed to be doing what you're doing.
So Jordan Davis. So are you suggesting that Jordan Davis and Jalen Carter be in the game at the same time?
Damn, Skippy.
Right next to each other, and they're both taking up 2.
They're
both consuming. The 2 of them are consuming 4.
Exactly.
Wow. And that's possible because that's what they do. Jordan Davis does that. Jalen Carter does that.
And the funny thing too is I think the fact that they all played together in college,
right,
especially with Nakobe Dean,
right,
Nakobe Dean is going to be able to feed off of that, and
he's going to freelance.
And the one thing we were talking about him, the one thing that I love that he did was when he saw his D tackle get double teamed, he shot that gap and it was in the backfield like nobody's business. We haven't had a linebacker, and I know everybody in this sucker knows we haven't had a true linebacker. We had T.J. Edwards was okay, but he was a little slow and a little hesitant. I was like, but we haven't had a linebacker like this that I think that Coach Desai, I think he's gonna let him loose, and I think he'll be able to blitz and he'll be able to get those coverages because he's a student of the game.
Yeah,
so, and he's got the speed too. So
Marquise Graham, I see you, says at this point, Carter is going to add a whole new element to this Eagles D line with depth. Yes, you're right. Yes. Carter's got a higher motor than Davis, which is higher. The biggest factor. Yeah, he does have a high.
It's one of those things too. It's like where you'll be able to, we line up. We may line up 3 defensive tackles, and it'd be Fletcher Cox, put Jordan Davis on the middle, and then Jalen Carter. But then the outside linebackers are Nolan Smith and one Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, come on. It's hard not to get excited. Even as a former player, we try to keep it low key and we try to keep it to, I'm excited. Keep it to a low roar and not get too excited about, the team that we're talking about, or covering, or players that, have come after us. But man, when you look at what the Eagles actually have and what Howie Roseman has actually done, and the pieces that have come into place, even with the fact that Hargrave is gone, everybody was flipping out when Hargrave was. Hargrave left.
You knew we didn't have the money to pay that.
Well, no, I mean, he's with the 49ers. Yeah. We're going to see how he does. Listen,
that's a different. The thing is,
he's got some help on that line, but he doesn't have the same kind of help and assistance that he has here in Philadelphia.
Yeah, and the defensive coordinator left. So.
Right. So it's going to be different for him. Just the same way with Jonathan Gannon as a head coach.
I'm hoping
it's going to be interesting to see what he can do with the lack of talent that he has in Arizona. I think Arizona's not going to be any different than it's been the last few years.
That is everybody's, and the other people that they had that were superstars are leaving.
And they're leaving, and I want to see how Jonathan Gannon handles Kyler Murray.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Is he going to be able to corral him and get him to focus?
Nope.
And get him to produce?
If anybody's seen that video of him talking to Tyler Murray when he first got there,
when Kyler wasn't looking at him,
it was god awful. He was running. He was doing the things are going to be coming at you like this.
What is up with that now? Where players are dictating to the coaches. Things. That didn't happen when we played.
No,
that didn't happen when we played. But let me flip over to the Sixers.
Okay.
Doc Rivers was on a podcast, and WIP had it on. Shout out to WIP.
Okay.
And Doc was saying that there were times when Joel Embiid would take games off, and there was nothing wrong with him. James Harden would do the same thing. They would decide, I'm not playing tonight, and take games off. And Doc couldn't do anything about it.
And it showed.
And I'm like, what? When did that happen? And why is that going on? And what do we need to do? What happened to where a player can go to a coach? You're being paid millions and millions of dollars, hundreds of millions of dollars. And you're going to tell the coach, I'm not playing tonight, and nothing's wrong with you?
Yeah.
You have no injury. You don't have the flu. You don't have a cold. You're not sick. Physically, you're okay. And you're telling the coach, I'm not playing tonight? When did that start? Mr. Softy's outside. We're talking about Joel Embiid. Y'all can hear Mr. Softy outside. He's outside. He's right outside the window right there. I wish I could turn the camera to see him. But Mr. Softy showed up when we were talking about Mr. Softy.
And I didn't the part that I didn't like when so Doc saying something about it now. It's like, dude, you had the power to make them play. If I'm the coach,
does he? If he had the power to make him play, and he had a problem with Joel Embiid, James Harden coming to him and saying, I'm not playing tonight. If he had the power to make them play and he had a problem with them not playing because nothing was wrong with him, then how come he didn't make them play? Because he doesn't have the power to make them play.
Well, I guess.
Thomas said, I can use a day off. Yeah, I hear you, Thomas. I can use a day off too.
You don't get one.
But you know what? That doesn't happen.
Yeah.
That doesn't happen in the NFL or in professional sports. You don't take a day off because you want to. Yeah, what kind of crap is that?
It don't happen when you're trying to win. It doesn't happen to win.
If you care, it doesn't happen. When you're trying to win, it doesn't happen. If you have teammates and you're part of a team and you value team, then it doesn't happen.
That's why the process does not work. Trust that process. Everybody keeps talking about trust the process.
Well,
that process crap does not work. When you this is what you get. When you start losing and then make everybody okay with it. You still have a couple. You still have some of the guys there who are okay with the whole organization was okay with losing.
So Nurse supposedly is not going to put up with that stuff.
No, he doesn't.
So supposedly,
well, he just
we'll see.
Well, first of all, he's just getting there, so he could stir up a lot of stuff because they don't want to just fire him right away because they just signed him to a contract, and that's a lot of money to try to delve out because his contract is guaranteed. So
you mean they'll get rid of Joel Embiid before they get rid of Nick Nurse?
Yeah, they'll have to move him.
Oh,
they'll have to move him.
I mean, it makes sense, but and if they're going to move Joel Embiid, they better move him while he's still young, while they can still get something for him.
Yeah, but I think he will come on with the come on because. But I hope so. Put it that way.
Real quick, two things. I know we're over time, but two things. Mm-hmm. Stefon Diggs. We were going to talk about Stefon Diggs. Did you want to say something about that? Again, that falls in the same category of the players telling the coaches what they're going to do.
Yeah, that was kind of funny because you said Sean McDermott didn't want to talk about it because he missed the mandatory minicamp, and it was like you saw that coming in the end of the playoff game when Josh Allen kept throwing interceptions. So,
right. So is Diggs? Do you think Diggs wants out?
I don't think he wants out, but I think he wants them to. Go get Hopkins.
That might be case. I mean, he's still the man. He had over 1,400 yards, 108 catches last year. Good gosh,
he's got money. He wants to win.
Yeah. I mean, well,
so you can't win.
You don't do that. You don't set the tone by being disruptive and putting yourself before the team. That's not how you win.
That's what me and you know.
Yeah.
So he's a young hothead. And he's just remembering who has the most interceptions in the fourth quarter of any quarterback over the last 3 or 4 years.
Josh Allen.
36. Yes. 36. Yes. So it's like they need to get that together. And Ken Dorsey is still the offensive coordinator.
Yeah.
I'll be here all week.
Listen, he'll be here all week. Listen, go ahead, Hollis. Give us some history. This is Hollis. History with Hollis, y'all, and we're out of here.
Quick history. Today is June the 15th, 2023. It's the 166th day of the year. There's 199 of these puppies remaining. Quick national holidays: Electricity Day, Lobster Day,
Lobster Day,
and Recess at Work Day. We're gonna go back to 1844 when Charles Goodyear he patents the rubber that we use on our tires.
I thought you were going to say the rubber we do use somewhere else.
No. Not that. No. And he 1960, the Boy Scouts of America formed. We don't really need to know that. But 1921, Bessie Coleman became the first Black female pilot. She earned her license in France.
Bessie Colby?
Yeah, Bessie Coleman.
Oh, Coleman.
Yes,
okay.
Yeah, she earned her pilot's license in France.
Nice.
And became she's half Black and half Native American. And in 1924, Ford Motor Company makes its 10 millionth automobile.
Wow.
A couple of quick birthdays. We have Vern, 1949 from what do you mean? What do you mean, Vern?
What do you mean, Vern?
Yeah. Jim Belushi, 1954. Nice. 1964, Courtney Cox. 1969, Ice Cube, the rapper. And 1973, Neil Patrick Harris.
All right.
There you go.
And that's your history.
That's my history
with Hollis.
Yes.
Listen, y'all, we're out of here. This is Vetted. You've seen another episode. Hope you enjoyed it. Vetted with Irving Fryar and Hollis Thomas. I'm Irving. That's Hollis.
Yes.
That's my big dog right there. We'll see y'all next week. Same time, same place, same purpose. We talking about the Eagles.
Yes. Go Birds.
Right here on A2D Radio. Take care.